Before we even talk about real estate, I have to acknowledge the situation that's happening in the region. As we speak, missiles are being intercepted, debris falling on buildings, minor incidents occurring. So things are happening. I can't pretend as if nothing is happening and I can't just keep going talking about investment opportunities. It doesn't make sense, right? For most people who were eyeing on investments, they might be having a lot of concerns about the market, what's going to happen. So I don't think this video would be suitable for most of the investors out there. So if you're having a lot of questions about the market, what's going to happen, is it a dead end or will it ever recover? So if you're having a lot of fundamental questions, particularly this would be the case if you are a foreigner, if you live out of Dubai, if you are not a resident here, and um, if you have been watching what's happening through international media outlets, then the picture that you would have been painted probably would be totally different from what's happening here. So if that's the case, then I don't think you should continue watching this. If that's the case, I'm actually working on a video, a detailed analysis video, to shed some lights on what's happening, a macro perspective, a historic perspective. I'm analyzing the situation in different angles, and that video will be out over the next 3 to 4 days. So maybe you can watch that. But if you are an investor who is a bit confused, who understands the reality what's happening, however who has a bit of trust on the government, who has seen what the government has done in the past, and who has a bit of an idea but still is a bit scared, which is natural, which I can understand, then this I think would be suitable for you. Now, before talking about the opportunity, let's understand there are three types of investors, particularly during times of chaos, uncertainty. The first type would be those who just wait and see, wait and observe. They don't make a move, they don't make any decisions, they just wait and observe. They want the markets to be calm to make an investment. That's the first type. The second type would be those who panic and take actions out of panic, maybe panic sell, those who basically panic. The third type would be those who search for opportunities during chaos. This is true not only in real estate, across, like even in stocks, even in governments, there are people who benefit out of panic, right? So there is definitely opportunity when situations are uncertain, but you have to be very careful and very picky about what's coming up. During these times, which opportunity could actually be considered as an opportunity? Well, if the opportunity exists only because of the uncertainty, had it not been for the uncertainty, the opportunity would have been gone or would not be available. If that is the case, then I think that is something worth looking at. And this particular opportunity that I am talking about today falls into that category, and that is the reason why I am talking about it. So today we are going to talk about one particular unit type of this newest project by Emaar called Golf Vale at Emaar South. I am talking about 1 bedrooms, not 2 bedrooms, not 3 bedrooms, particularly about a 1 bedroom. Why? Well, how does it fall into the definition of a opportunity, as I said a moment ago? 1 bedrooms in their previous launch, it could be Golf Meadows, Golf Verge, or there were many apartment launches that took place in Emaar South. All the 1 bedrooms were gone even before they were launched. As a matter of fact, there were investors who were lined up with EOIs for the 1 bedroom 2-3 months before the projects were launched, because main reason, the 1 bedroom starting prices were like in the range of, it started from 850,000 end of 2024 if I'm not mistaken, and then gradually it increased, and right now it still sits at a price point of 1.1 million dirhams, right? So you being able to invest in an Emaar project at a price point of 1.1 million, which you generally would invest in a tier 2, tier 3 developer. So you can invest that much in a tier 1 developer. Well, that is the opportunity that still sits on the table, particularly because of this uncertainty that we are seeing. Many investors are backing off, particularly foreign international investors. Hence the opportunity lies quietly on the table, and that definitely, even during these times of uncertainty, is an opportunity, and let's understand why. Now moving forward, this is how the video is going to be structured. First of all, let's shed some light onto what's happening, and we will understand one thing. Will Dubai bounce back? I will briefly explain that. After that, we will talk about the opportunity, a bit about the opportunity, why it's an opportunity, right? Then we will understand about the community and the location for which this project belongs to, the potential of it as a long-term option. And finally, we will understand who this opportunity is for and who this opportunity is not for, which is very important, particularly during these times, and then the growth potential and the ROI of this opportunity, right? So with all that's happening, will Dubai bounce back? As we speak, last night, early this morning, debris fell onto a building at DIFC, which is one of the core business hubs of Dubai. So there's a lot of you could say, reputational damage more than the physical damage. I mean, if you talk about the physical damage and the material damage, it's pretty negligible compared to the impact, compared to the kind of attack that was done. However, the reputational damage is a lot, right? So will it ever be able to bounce back? That's a question, that's a concern a lot of people have in their mind. I mean, literally almost everyone has this concern, unless you have a very clear picture of what's happening, what the government has, the kind of steps the government has taken. Well, let's understand it in three categories. First, infrastructure resilience. Now, if you look at the main infrastructure, one of the main things that happened was the airport was closed for a few days, which was a major thing. It's not a small thing, because Dubai airport is the busiest airports in the world, and it's a central hub, right? It connects the eastern world and the western world. So it's a central hub. It being closed was a big thing, was a big problem, not only for Dubai, for all over the world, for UK, for eastern part of the, for India, Pakistan, for these countries, for the UK, US. It was a problem, logistics problem. It was a logistical issue and a travel issue for the entire world, right? However, we need to understand that UAE and Dubai received one of the highest number of missiles and drone attacks after Israel, right? As we speak, even last night, a few number of missiles, drones were received, and almost everything was intercepted. And UAE and Dubai has the highest interception rate in the world, which was proven during these times, right? So when we talk about infrastructure, how quickly the airport was able to function, just a matter of few days, they were functioning, flights through safe passage, right? And even as we speak, 2-3 days back, there were a few minor drone incidents. For a few minutes or for a few hours, they closed down the airport, and then it was back in action, it was functional, right? Just imagine the kind of damage that it would cause if absolutely something happens to an Emirates flight. So for them to function, even during this heightened tension situation, for them to function their airspace, imagine the kind of planning, coordination, organization that should have been happening, that should be happening as we speak on the back end, to make sure something like that does not happen, right? The airport and the flights are operational even during these times of heightened tensions, right? Then the Jebel Ali port was dysfunctional for a few days. Again, even that is reopened, right? We got information that the Jebel Ali port is also functional. So the fact that these two mega, the airport and the port, being functional within such a short period of time after direct attack, that's not something small. That's something, there, as I said earlier, there should be some serious coordination, collaboration happening at the back end for these things to be functional, right? Also, that obviously shows the resilience and the speed, dynamic nature of the leadership of the country. And the third indicator is the economic activity. You would feel this if you have been, or if you are living in Dubai, particularly if you are living outside of Dubai, because I get contacted by a lot of friends and family back in Sri Lanka, investors from India, investors from the UK, from US, and I kind of get an idea of what kind of picture they have in mind, they have been portrayed, right? So if you are a foreigner, if you haven't been to Dubai much, if you don't have that much of an idea of what's happening on the ground, then the kind of picture that you have been portrayed would be as if the market is not functional, like everything is at a halt. That's absolutely not the case. If you look at the economic activity, the day-to-day activity of people, supermarkets are open, deliveries are happening, food, there's abundant food supply. Yes, the prices have spiked a bit of certain items, which is natural, which we can understand, because global logistics have been interrupted, right? So that is something that is anticipated. Apart from that, life goes on as usual. That's the economic activity. And another thing that needs to be highlighted is the government actions that were taken during these times. The government actions that were taken on day one to take care of the standard travelers, the tourists who were supposed to fly out of the country, the government actions that were taken, the swift actions that were taken to implement work from home. Of course, offices are open back now, right? People are going to office, people are going to work. Certain offices are functioning on a hybrid model, but still things are happening. Schools are still distant learning, right? Which we can understand, which they have to be, I think. So government has taken safety measures and are taking safety measures as they open up economies, as they open up the airport. They are very cautious. They are making sure that the safety of the residents, citizens and tourists are protected, right? Because let's face it, the situation is pretty serious. It's not something that I can just belittle just for the sake of promoting a project, right? The situation is serious, it's happening, but what we need to understand is that the government is pretty backed up with the resources that's required to take care of the situation, to handle the situation, right? And we have seen this in the past during COVID, during the previous crises, and I can understand this is a bit different in nature. However, what matters, it's not the challenge that the city faces, it's how the government, the leadership responds and acts towards the challenge, right? So that's pretty stable, pretty safe. Those measures are being taken proactively, and things are happening, activity is happening, and daily life goes on as usual, right? Global Village and a few other attractions which were closed on the day the attack was initiated, just few days down the line they were opened, right? Fairmont, there was an incident that happened at Fairmont and there was a fire. It was closed for 2 days and the third day it was open. I remember, I come from Sri Lanka, there was the Easter attacks 2019 April 21st, and Shangri-La, Hilton and a few other leading hotels were attacked, and it took weeks or months, if I'm not mistaken, for them to just reconstruct the hotels and be functional, right? I don't want to belittle my country, I love my country, but I just wanted to explain how swift, how rapidly this government takes decisions to move on, to take care of their people, right? What we need to understand is that the real strength of a system, it could be an individual, a person, it could be a country, it could be an organization, is highlighted during challenging times. You have to really stress test it to understand what it is made of, right? Currently, Dubai is being stress tested to, it's being pushed to the limits, and we see how they are responding, and it's pretty phenomenal the way they respond. If you live inside the country, you would really feel it, right? If you are following again global international media outlets, well, the kind of things that you have been fed is different, and I'm not even talking about them right now. One quick story that came to my mind, this is something that happened last night. I'm a Muslim, I'm fasting, so during this is the last 10 days of our fast. We tend to go to the mosque at night, midnight, for midnight prayers, right? So last night I didn't go, but my wife wanted to go. It was at 12 midnight, around 11:45 midnight, and the mosque is around 300 meters away. My wife had to walk to the mosque, and I was resting, I didn't go. I didn't even have a second thought that my wife is walking at midnight alone to the mosque, I was not bothered at all, right? I mean, that spirit is not something that can be easily tarnished and broken down by these missiles, right? That is the core of this city, and that remains as it is. That will remain to be as it is, right? That is why so many people from so many other countries were attracted, and that is going to be there once this situation moves on. Those fundamentals are going to be strong, and that is the leadership that leads our country, and that is what gives us faith as residents, as citizens, as investors on this market, right? Now let's move on to the opportunity, and let's talk about the opportunity. So the project is named Golf Vale, and the opportunity, as I said in the beginning, is a one bedroom, mainly because of the price point, which would have been grabbed, which would have been sold out had it not been for this market condition, right? Golf Vale is located at Emaar South. So this is the Emaar South master plan, and this is the project Golf Vale, right? So if we understand, this is an 18-hole championship golf course. Emaar South is a golf community which is located in the Golf district of Dubai South, which we will also understand in a moment. The main importance is there is a series of buildings in Emaar South directly facing the golf. So this is the golf course, right? So these buildings, all these buildings that are around the golf course, are directly facing the golf course, which is non-existent in any other community. There is no apartment directly facing the golf course in an 18-hole championship golf course anywhere else in Dubai, right? So this is the opportunity that we are talking about. Why is it an opportunity? Well, because number one, yes, the price point, you get to invest in a tier 1 developer, as I said, at a low price point. Then if you talk about golf communities, number one, when it comes to golf communities, there's a lot of land is required to build a golf community. So there's land scarcity, right? And not every developer is able to come up with successful golf communities. Only the leading ones can do, because maintaining a golf community is pretty hard. There's a lot of lost income. There's a large land parcel dedicated to the golf course, which can't be utilized for any apartments or any investments, right? So that's one. So for that reason, not many developers are able to come up with. I mean, we could literally count the number of golf communities that are available in Dubai. It's very less. You see Emirates Hills, you have Dubai Hills, you have Damak Hills, you have Jumeirah Golf Estates. We know the prices of projects, apartments, villas directly facing golf course, right? They are always priced at a premium, and that's the case not only in Dubai, anywhere in the world. Investment opportunities facing golf communities, directly facing golf courses, always command a premium. Why? Because of the lifestyle premium, the kind of people, the caliber of people that would want to live in a golf community, they have a higher spending power. They basically attract high income residents, right? So that changes things, that pushes things forward. So statistically speaking, golf communities always command a premium of at least 15% and above, as per statistics, right? Depending on the unit type, depending on the exclusivity of the opportunity, this premium could go even up to 40-50% compared to other investment options, right? So hence this opportunity, it sits directly on a golf course. Then it's a one bedroom which would not be available under normal market conditions, right? Then it's by the number one developer of Dubai, of this region, Emaar, which if ever you want to choose an investment during these times of uncertainty, it's pretty safe to go with the number one developer, the government backed developer, right? A few details about the project. This is the unit breakdown: 117 one beds, 117 two beds, 22 through 3 beds, and 6 townhouses. And this is what we are talking about. These one beds is what we are talking about. The price point is the main factor, 1.1. I mean, although the starting price is 1.1, practically speaking, we are looking at 1,150,000 to 1.2 million, right? And then let's look at some renders and see how it would look like, how it would feel. This is the exterior facade of the building, right? It's an L-shaped building, and this is the golf course that we are talking about, okay? This is part of it, and there would be a wider view because there's a whole golf course in front of the building. This is another render of how it looks like. These are just to give you a feel of the project, how it's going to look like. This is another render, yes, and this again is a third render. This is the infinity pool, so this is also another, just to give another aspect of how the views are going to look like. These are some renders. I am not going to go into detail about the renders or even about the floor plans, because the floor plans, let's face it, it's pretty generic. There's nothing unique with the floor plans that I should highlight per se. Certain projects, I mean, if you have been following my videos, you would already know I don't just talk about every detail of the project. If there's something unique about a project that is noteworthy, that's what I highlight. When it comes to layout of this project, it's pretty generic. The main thing here is not the layouts. You should not buy this project because of the layouts, but you buy this because of the price point, because it sits on a golf course, because it's Emaar limited supply. There is just so many plots that are available around this master plan. If you could remember this master plan, so there's only these buildings that are available around this golf course. Once they are gone, that's it, right? They are sold. So and one other thing, every other launch, as always, Emaar puts up the price by at least 2 to 3% high, right? So the next 3 to 4 years, there's going to be launches happening here, and every single launch the prices are going to go up. So it's only going to appreciate, right? And this is a pretty safe price point, 1.1 million. And again, this investment opportunity is not a short-term investment. Like, although there is going to be a bit of a, turbulent time over the next 6 to 8 months, particularly with all that's happening, this investment that we are talking about is pretty long term. I will talk about the investor psychology, who should invest here, in a moment, then you will understand that. A few other things, now that we have opened the master plan, which are noteworthy. There is a school in the community. There's a K-12 school in the community. There's a golf clubhouse. There's a hotel in the community. There's a nursery, right? There are many parks. So these are some things that also really add values to the community. These are things that yet to come, right? Meaning, every time something, like for example, once a school is operational, there is going to be an appreciation across the community of at least 15 to 20%. Likewise, every demand anchor, as and when they realize properties in the community appreciate. This is a long-term play. This is not a short-term play, right? That's something that I really need to reiterate. Okay, now let's understand who should be investing in this, particularly given the current market conditions. Before that, we will understand the Dubai South master plan, because I think that's also important here for us to understand. Just to give a brief of the location, so this is the map of Dubai. You have the Palm Jumeirah, you have this is Sheikh Zayed Road, this is where downtown is, Business Bay, this is Al Khail Road, Mohammed bin Zayed Road, this is Expo Road, this is where Expo 2020 is, right? So this is the airport, Al Maktoum Airport, going to be the world's largest, and that is happening. That will not stop because of what's happening, right? This is something that is going to happen, and the timeline that is given is 2030, and that is going to happen in 2030. I mean, absolutely no construction has been halted. We see when we travel in Dubai, I daily see there's things happening, construction. When I travel to sites, constructions are happening. There's nothing that has been stopped or paused. Everything is happening as usual, right? Everything is happening as usual. So airport is going to be functional by 2030, and next to the airport we have the Emaar South, right? So now let's understand Dubai South. This is the plan for Dubai South. So this is Al Maktoum International Airport. This is the Expo 2020 district. This is the Dubai South residential district. Next to the airport, you have the aviation district, you have the logistics district, and then you have a golf district, right? Part of the Dubai South. And Emaar South is the main gated golf community in the golf district. Whatever coming up here in the golf district in the future is going to be at a higher price point for sure, because however much uncertain situations are right now, as I explained, Al Maktoum Airport is happening, Expo 2020 is happening, Dubai Exhibition Center, the World Trade Center is moving to Expo City. That's happening. That will not stop. There would be a temporary reduction in the number of events, but long term it's happening, right? So long term, long picture, things are happening. There's 126 billion dirhams that has been invested into this Dubai South master plan mega community, out of which 67 billion has been invested here, right? So it's a pretty big investment that we are talking about, right? That has been invested in this location, and government takes this location pretty seriously, Dubai South. If you have been following the investment scenario of Dubai, I'm sure you would have come across videos talking about Dubai South, the potential of Dubai South, right? So all this is going to impact positively this location, Emaar South, in the long term. Again, this is not a short term play. So now who should invest? Well, let's understand. First of all, let's understand the payment plan, and along with the payment plan, I will explain who this investment is suitable for. You have a down payment of 10%. So if you're talking about 1.1 million, that's 110,000 down payment. Then in May 2026, like 3 months from now, you have to pay another 10%, again another 110,000. Then 6 months down the line, you have to pay another 10%. After that, every 6 months you pay 10% until 2029 January, right? Then you have 1 whole year until handover to pay the final 20%. Now who should be investing? Well, I mean, if you look at the price point, 1.1 million considered to be an affordable price, like affordable range, tier A developer. You pay 10% almost every 6 months, right? So this opportunity is a long term play. Do not expect to flip at 40% or definitely not in 6 to 8 months. No, with the current market conditions, if that is what you are looking for, then maybe you should invest somewhere else, not in Dubai, right? Right now, Dubai is not the place for you to invest and expect appreciation, expect flipping in 6 to 8 months, right? Say if you have some capital, but you don't have a lump sum amount to invest in one property anywhere in Dubai or anywhere else. However, you want to invest in a stable market, in a market that would grow, that has potential, but you can deploy cash little by little, right? With your salary, with your income, maybe you can deploy cash little by little. Then of course off plan is the option for you. However, with the current condition, off plan, like good 90-95% of the off plan options you can't even think of with everything that's happening. Well, this is a good option, a safe option. You get to invest in a tier 1 developer, pretty safe. Even if something happens in the short term, its MR is pretty safe, right? And you can invest little by little and let the capital grow, right? Long term play, 5-6 years, that is the timeline that we are looking at, right? If you want to resell, consider a resale at least earliest on handover, best even 2 to 3 years after handover, once the airport becomes fully functional. That's when the real traction for this community is going to be. That's when this community is going to flourish, right? That is the best time for you to resell. You can resell it at a significant premium, 75, 80 or even 100% of a premium, but 5-6 years down the line. And talking about the rental ROI, current one bed rentals, if you look at this community Emaar South, is about 60-65,000 for a one bed, which is not indicative of the actual rental potential for this particular unit, because there's nothing much happening. The Al Maktoum Airport, the big plot that we see, a good 85-90% of it is empty. There's nothing, no activity happening there. So currently Emaar South is considered to be very far. Who is living there right now? Mostly executives working at Al Maktoum Airport or Jebel Ali, around those areas. Currently that number is very small, right? Over the next 4 to 5 years, that number is going to grow rapidly because of all the developments happening in Dubai South, and then this community will flourish. So at handover, you could decently expect a rental income of around 85 to 90,000 dirhams on a one bedroom, and 2 to 3 years down the line, that number is going to increase, right? So we are looking at what, around 8 to 9% of a decent rental income that you can expect out of this project. And when it comes to capital gains, the best time in my opinion is for you to resell after 5 to 6 years. So again, who this is suited for? For someone who wants to quietly grow your capital, but you don't have a lump sum amount to deploy at once, so you can deploy little by little. Well, this is something that you could look at, right? So yes, that's a bit about the investment opportunity that I wanted to explain. To summarize, I can perfectly understand that the market is not what it was 2 weeks back. There's a lot of turmoil happening in the region, a lot of uncertainty. However, there is opportunity even during uncertainty, even during turmoil, and that is true for real estate, that is true for businesses, that is true for even individuals. The best cities that we see today, Dubai for example, or any leading company, for example, had to go through times of turbulence, had to go through times of tremendous challenge, and had to prove themselves, and that is how they are where they are today, right? So that is a bit that I wanted to explain. Hope the video was insightful. If you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to comment on the comment section. If you want to have a chat, if you want to discuss about the opportunity or about the market in general, because I understand not many investors would be ready to talk about investment opportunities. However, there will be a lot of people who would want to understand uh, what's happening and what the future outlook of the market is going to be. So if that's the case, please feel free to reach out. With that being said, signing off until next time.